Doing section 10.3, a couple of examples that have square roots in them. They still fit the qualifications to be quadratic in form because our first exponent is 1 and our middle exponent is 1/2 because that's what a square root corresponds to. If I were to solve letter E with trial and error, here's how it would go. Since I don't have a number in the front of the x, then it's just a 1. So I'm going to use the square root of x. So it's always this middle terms variable in the first locations. If I check this by FOIL, which is how you do trial and error, you would get x, and then I need two numbers that multiply to 12 that are going to add up to 4, which is going to be 6 and 2. So then I have, if I continue my FOIL, if I need a positive 4, the 6 has to be positive and the 2 has to be negative. So 6 is positive and the 2 is negative. So that's factored now by trial and error. And then you set equal to 0 each factor. And then I would square both sides. But the 36 is going to be extraneous again. Here's how I know. In this step previous, I had a -6 equal to a square root. Square root cannot equal a negative number. It's just not going to work. If you checked it by putting 36 in here, you'd have 36 plus 4 times 6, which is 24. 36 plus 24 subtract 12 is definitely not going to be 0. If I put in the positive 4, I'd have 4 plus 4 times 2, which is 8. 4 plus 8 is 12, minus 12 is 0. If you don't like trial and error, I'll solve letter F with U substitution. U substitution works like this. We're going to let U equal the middle terms variable. Then U squared is going to equal the first terms variable. So my problem is 10U squared minus 65U minus 35 equals 0. In writing all of those numbers, I notice that they're all multiples of 5. So I'm going to divide everything by 5. To simplify to 2u squared minus 13u minus 7. Then either it's back to trial and error or the AC method. The AC method, I look for two numbers that multiply to -14 and add to -13. Which is going to be -14 and 1. And then we replace the middle term with that. So we have minus 14u plus 1u. And then I factor by grouping. So this is back to how you would factor way back in chapter 6 is when this was covered. So that if you need a refresher, go back to chapter 6. This becomes u minus 7 times 2u plus 1. And then I can change my u's back into square roots of x. And then I set each equal to 0. So if I set that one equal to 0, I'm going to move the 7 over just because I'm running out of space. So I'm going to do things a little bit quicker here. So I'm going to subtract the 1 and divide by 2. And then I know this one's going to be extraneous because I cannot have a square root equal to a negative number. This one, if I square both sides, I get 49. So my answer is just x equals 49.